Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our weekly webinar. This is Patrick Halstead speaking, and I have Jimmy Rich with me today. Jimmy is our top developer on FormsViewer and the lead developer here at Qdabra, and he is going to be showing you his demos of our 1.3 release. We're very happy to announce today that we have just released 1.3 both to Europe and to the US. We'll be going through what's in 1.3 and talking to you about FormsViewer in general. Jimmy, you there?
Yep, I am here.
Great.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks for joining us. Jimmy is working out of our Kyoto office, so it's a bit late there for him, but glad to hear that. Don't drink any coffee at this time, Jimmy, because it is late. You want to sleep in a few minutes here. But can you share the second screen? Can you move? Because I know you're doing the sharing right now, and I'll talk to the first slide. It isn't yet. There we go. Thank you very much. So, so quickly then, before we get to the demo, we last launched FormsViewer. We last pushed out a release in November, about a month ago, and since then we've done a bunch of features and a bunch of fixes. We wanted to do these 4 features. We didn't quite get the font size one in. It kind of just missed the cutoff yesterday. But we will plan on working on it in 2.1, which will be the first quarter of 2017. So the other features that we're going to be demoing today are better form organization. So for those of you who have lots of different templates, we're going to be showing you a way to, FormsViewer now supports per site organization. So that's going to reduce the, it's going to enable you to better organize your templates per site, and instead of having everything appear on the main Manage Templates page in FormsViewer, all of your site forms will be site specific. And that is only true for new forms added. So if you have old forms, they'll still show up, but you can always just re-add them as a new name, and then it'll be site specific. We want to support the old model as well as the new. And Jimmy will demo this in a second. The second bullet, we're showing you usage stats on your forms, so you'll see monthly open counts, and we just wanted to provide some quick intel to you to see who's using your forms, well, how much your forms are being used actually, and so we'll show that as well. And then the last feature that we got in was the support for large files. We had several customers submitting files in excess of 2 megabytes, and they had an issue. We fixed that. We've also fixed lots of other things. Jimmy, can you switch to the next slide? Thank you. So this is a list of the fixes in the last month. Some significant fixes, for example, the People Picker now supports rules. We had an issue with People Pickers not firing rules correctly when you tabbed out. That they do now, and a bunch of other things. I guess we should go through these. So there's quite a few QRules commands here that we've improved. Copy table being the first one, supports rich text. We have the ability to submit to SharePoint large files. I just mentioned that, but we also, when you're doing a SharePoint submit with QRules, it'll also support that. The time controls, when you're dealing with dates and times, the time control now supports 12-hour format. Before it was just the XML format. The People Picker, like I just mentioned, you can do it with conditional rules. We'll see a demo in a second. And then we had a bug with QRules parameter parsing where it would not recognize capital letters in the middle of the parameter. For example, if you're using a submit to SharePoint list and you have a mapping name, that name is typically capitalized in the QRules command syntax, and there was a bug that we fixed so that now FormsViewer can parse that correctly. In addition, we had an issue where if you were in a rich text field and you switched to a separate view and then back, the rich text field went blank. We fixed that. And finally, we support submitting rich text to lists as well as using copy table. And I think there are a bunch of other small fixes, but those are the major ones. And Jimmy, I'm going to stop talking so you can do your demo.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. So just to, okay, so let's go right into the demo. I have FormsViewer open here in my browser. And we're going to be using this expense report webinar 2016-12-22. Now, the first thing we notice is that we've got this opens this month and total opens column. I just uploaded this an hour ago, so we wouldn't have any opens for the previous month. But as we can see, I've opened it 7 times, and if I open it again, and refresh this page, I should see that it's gone up to 8, and indeed it has. So that can help you get a handle of how much your forms are being used on a monthly basis. Now, we see that when I open this form, I get a mostly blank screen, and what what I've done here is we're showing out a little technique you can use in your forms. This is not FormsViewer specific, but of course FormsViewer supports it. Let's say you wanted to do some work on a form and have it in your SharePoint site, but you didn't want people going in and fiddling around with it while it's still not ready to go live. What you can do is just keep a flag in your form to indicate that it's not ready to go. And basically, see, I've got this text down here in its section, and I'm hiding it if this hide form field is not equal to true. My hide form field, in order to avoid cluttering the main data source, I've put it in the secondary data source, and on form load I've got a rule that just sets it to true. There we go. So that's true. So this is going to be visible, and the main section of my form is hidden when it is true, so that will be hidden. So when I'm done working on my changes to the form, I can just go here into the form load rules and disable it, and then the form should load like normal. So that's just a nifty little technique you can use. Now, how do I actually use the form when I've got this screen blocking me? Well, I've got a secret button here. I've removed the borders and background and given it just a space for its text. So when I click this, it's going to set hide form equal to false, and that is going to show the form. So that's how I can get into my form and make sure it's working. Now, now let's go through some of the new features in FormsViewer. We can see that report date is showing the date and the time. This is what we just mentioned. Previously, the time field would show the entire date time field with the date and the time in it. So this is working. I noticed that the minutes portion has an extra digit, so we're going to need to do a quick fix for that. But this is mostly working. There was another issue that a customer reported to us where rich text fields had a problem where if you switched away to another view and you had a rich text field, it wouldn't work when you switched back to the original view. So just to show you that that's working now, put in some text, give it some formatting. I will click the print button, which will take me to another view. Looks like this form hasn't loaded quite correctly, so I'm going to go ahead and reload it. Okay. Alright, now we got our logo up in the top left. Okay. Switch to the print view. Now we're on the print view, we'll switch back, and we see that the rich text field is still working as always. So that's a nice little thing we fixed. Another thing that wasn't working quite right was conditional formatting based on people pickers. So in my form, I have some formatting to hide the submit button when all occurrences of account ID are blank. So basically that means when the people picker is blank, hide this. Previously when I selected a person for this field, the button wouldn't show up right away. What was happening is that the view wouldn't actually re-render. If I went and modified some other field, then it would re-render and the formatting would take effect. But now that issue is fixed. So we got our submit button right away. Now, large files. As Patrick mentioned, there was an issue with submitting files more than 2 megabytes. So, and that applied to submitting to SharePoint, and also if you use the Save to SharePoint command in QRoles, which saves out files to another library, replaces them with links, that was having the same issue. So what we should be able to do now is attach this large 6 megabyte receipt for my expense report. Not so much for a receipt, really. It has a couple of smiley faces in the top left, but it's 6 megabytes. And when I hit submit, takes a while because it's 6 megabytes, but it did submit successfully. This is the library that it's submitting to, and when I refresh this, we can see I submitted a form just a few seconds ago, and it's 8.8 megabytes, and I didn't put in my email address, so the file name's kind of wacky, but there we have it. You can now submit large-ish files to SharePoint. Now, the last thing we want to touch on, I believe, is something that Patrick mentioned, which is forms are now associated with a site. So I'm looking at the forms for one of my sites. This is my December 22nd webinar site. And a lot of these forms were added before we made this change to FormsViewer, so they are not associated with any particular site. But this one form that I'm working on should only be accessible from FormsViewer within this site. So if we switch over to another tab, which is the FormsViewer for our webinar's October 20th site, and refresh the page, or actually I'll just refresh it this way. Oh. Okay. Looks like we had a bit of a timeout there. So if I refresh this page, we should see that under expense report, I do not have 2016-12-22, and indeed I don't. So that should help you reduce clutter in your sites, have them associated with just one location, so you don't wind up like we have here with hundreds and hundreds of forms in one place.
A lot of forms we've been working on. My goodness gracious.
We've been doing a lot of testing. And so if you do have a form that's globally associated and you want to associate it with just one site, you should be able to just download the XSN, delete the form from FormsViewer, and recreate it in whichever site where you intend to use it, and then it should only be associated with that one site. And anything referencing it should continue to work as long as it's referencing it from within the same site. And there you have it.
Awesome. So questions from the crowd here. Any questions? Thank you for being here today. Jimmy, can you switch to the next slide? We have a few things more to mention, and specifically, we want to wish everyone happy holidays. It is that season, and want to thank you all for being our customer in 2016, and we look forward to serving you next year. We're planning a bunch of new product releases next year, including updating FormsViewer once per quarter. We'll be in the the 2 major version range. So the first release will be 2.1 in sometime probably in Q1, probably towards the end of February. If you've got features you want us to look at, we're going to be obviously looking at validation and looking at multi-check list box, which are 2 things that do not make it into FormsViewer 1.2, but they are very important. And if you've got other things you want us to look at, please don't be shy, let us know. We also are going to start working on a browser-based designer, so you won't have to worry about InfoPath Designer to create your forms or to update them. The first release of this will really be targeting maintaining existing forms. So we're going to focus on the update scenario as opposed to the new scenario. So for those of you with XSNs, form templates, if you want to edit them, you'll be able to do it in the browser sometime in 2017 with our plugin. It'll be just in the Manage Templates page of FormsViewer. There'll be a browser button, a designer button that you'll click on. You'll be able to design the form in the browser. One of the major advantages of FormsViewer is the ability to speed up your development process by you don't have to go through the lengthy publish steps. You can just upload, drag and drop your form to the Manage Templates in FormsViewer and very quickly open them to see the changes you've made. So that reduces the cycle of change, see how it looks, make another change. You don't have to republish it and then go through the InfoPath Form Services. You can just use FormsViewer to do that. And we hope that the Forms Designer will also improve it even further by allowing you to just click on the designer, make the change, and then open it right there in the browser. Once again, we're going to be, of course, maintaining the InfoPath template format, so we should have complete compatibility with it. It will be the same format that InfoPath uses, plus the extensions we've added to QRules. And then finally, we've got a couple other products. DBXL is a product we've had, our flagship product, for many, many years. It was our first major product back in 2004. DBXL is our web service suite that allows you to map XML files to SQL for reporting, but it also allows you to query SQL databases, and nowadays it allows you to generate PDFs, and the rendering is high quality. It also allows you to send emails and convert forms from one form to another. So it's got a lot of features, basically all the features we needed to do to build solutions for our many customers. We will be revving that. We just did a release 3.1 about a month ago. We're going to be releasing 3.2 sometime next year, and it will be integrated with FormsViewer backend. So for those of you on-prem who are installing the FormsViewer server piece, which does the uncabbing of the XSN, allowing the client, the FormsViewer app, to actually display the contents, you will just have one install in the future to get both functionality. And then finally, we have a Forms board product for those of you who want an option, an alternative to SharePoint. We have a separate web-based tool that you can use to host your forms. You can do it on-prem, or you can do it using our hosted formsboard.com site. And those are the releases that we're planning for the holidays. Any questions out there? I don't see any questions yet. Apparently people need to drink more coffee. Jimmy, I think we have one or more slide left. If you want to switch to the next slide, I'll do a quick summarization here. Those were the demos we did. Good job, Jimmy. We did the bonus demo, the Incognito forms design. And this was just one example of one of our customers. In fact, Misty, yesterday, she said, hey, how do I prevent users from seeing forms while I'm designing them? And so we came up with this quick technique, very simple, to hide the main body of the form and present that message that you saw earlier. And anyway, that's how we did it. And let's see, we have a question slide, Jimmy, at the end here? We have a question slide. Oh, no, we have the ad. Yes, so this is the obligatory ad for the company. Mainly it's for you because, of course, FormsViewer is free to, it's a freemium model, so it's free for most users who don't use it and have humongous form requirements. For high usage scenarios, we do have to pay for Azure, so we end up having to pass through a small charge there. But for most users, it is a free model. If you're using on-prem and you want some support, we do charge for support, and we're happy to have you as our customer for FormsViewer. It is essentially our path forward for you, so you don't have to worry about your forms lifespan. We we're the only company out there that provide a no migration future for your forms. You can take your forms as is, load them in FormsViewer, and with a few exceptions like the multi-select checkbox and the multi-select list box and some of the validation stuff, FormsViewer is pretty much 100%. Well, there's digital signatures too, but we support probably 90% of the features in the info path, and then we add all these features from QRules. So it really is more than just the info path support. You get support for 43 commands that can extend your form's functionality. For example, submitting to SharePoint list, saving an attachment to a library, those kinds of things. And those are the new form features we talk about: sorting, copying tables, things like that. It's faster than InfoPath Form Services because we don't do postbacks for logic in the form. We do it in the client. So you'll see better performance. Chrome is probably one of the best, but we also have users with Firefox that see even faster performance. Internet Explorer is still going to be faster than InfoPath Form Services with FormsViewer, but Internet Explorer is probably the slower of the bunch. And then of course there are new features like they're non-QRule specific, like the ability to anonymously have external users submit forms, new forms typically, without having a SharePoint license. And there's more. So if you have any questions, please go to that link at the bottom. And Jimmy, one more slide, I think, or two more slides. We have a question slide. Any questions for me or Jimmy? We have also with us Peter, who is our main tester of FormsViewer, and Peter has just finished a full smoke test. That's what we call it here, a smoke test. Major cigars were consumed to make sure that FormsViewer 1.3 is going to meet the quality, basically won't break. We've done quite a bit of extensive testing. Peter's with us too, so if you've got questions on that, he can answer the QA questions. And it looks like we don't have any questions, Jamie, so let's switch to the last slide. We have a bit of a break coming up, but we are going to be doing a webinar. Actually, Jennifer Lindsay, I believe, will be doing the webinar on January 12th, and this will be tips for creating mobile forms. We have quite a few Formotus customers now, and we'll be talking about some tips and tricks for making InfoPath forms work really well in the Formotus rich client that's used on iPads, Android devices, and so on. We look forward to having you here in about 3 weeks, and I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you for being here. Any more questions for us? If not, we wish you well over the next few weeks, and hope to have you back here on January 12th. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, we have one question. Hold on. Happy holidays from Shane. Thank you, Shane. Happy holidays to everyone. Take care.